Hey lovelies, and welcome to today's video. I am sitting in baby girl's nursery. I haven't done a complete reveal of this room yet because we don't have it all together quite yet. We're waiting on one last piece, which is the crib, because Kala is still in the toddler transition part of the crib. So once we move her to an actual big girl bed and transition the crib into baby girl's room, then I will be able to finally put some final touches on the room and do a full nursery reveal for you guys. In the meantime, it's obviously a super adorable background, so I think that this might be where I film all my videos from now on, at least the sit down ones obviously. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys where I'm at in regards to my C-section recovery, and also I'm going to be sharing my biggest tips, tricks, and hacks for my experience as a second-time mom having a C-section. I'm assuming if you're watching this video that you've had a C-section yourself and you're hoping to increase the success of your recovery. If not, I 100% applaud you for watching a video like this before having a C-section. Maybe you have one scheduled already, or maybe you anticipate it being a possibility, but it wasn't on my radar at all, and I think that that was the biggest mistake for me, even as a second-time mom. I wasn't prepared for what could be in regards to even opening my eyes for a C-section at all. No matter where you are in your journey, I'm so happy that you clicked on today's video. I would love to have you as a regular subscriber, so before you leave today's video, be sure to hit that red subscribe button down below. I do lots of content on honest motherhood, especially now that I'm a mother of 2, and I share all of life's greatest tips, tricks, and hacks in general. Here recently, we've been focusing on things like organization, home renovation, decor type videos as my husband and I embark on our 3rd year in our home. I always make my intros way too long, so I'm gonna cut it off there and let's hop into the video. So I am right around 8.5 weeks postpartum from when I gave birth to, again, my second daughter. I have 2 daughters. My first daughter is turning 3 very, very soon. I did share a lot about my C-section and my recovery so far in my labor and delivery video. So I will go ahead and link that for you guys up on the iCard on the screen, and I will link it down in the description box for you guys as well. You can go and get even more insight in regards to my experience specifically prior to this video, which again is going to focus on recovery. I'm going to be honest in that it has taken me so long to recover, and I honestly don't feel like I'm 100% recovered from my C-section at all. I remember around 5 weeks feeling like that was really the point that I hit where I started to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I started to see like I could do some of my activity regimen in a more normal, successful way like I did prior to the C-section. 5 weeks is a really long time, and I will just say that from all of the information that I've received after having a C-section, whether that be from personal experience or just scientific evidence, research-based articles that I've read, I know that everybody's experience is their own and it is very unique to them, just like with a lot of other aspects of life. I've had to give myself a lot of grace because I've had to ask for a lot of help. I have had a C-section recovery that's taken way longer than I anticipated it taking, and I'm definitely still adjusting to what is now my new normal. It's really hard transitioning to what is your new normal when you welcome home a new person in your family, but then to also have had major abdominal surgery on top of all of that, it's very overwhelming. I will just say I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a professional by any means. And what I'm sharing in this video and what I share in all my videos is simply my experience. And I hope that it helps somebody simply by sharing what I'm going through. So right after my C-section, they started using a lot of tools in hopes of helping me recover almost immediately in the hospital. So things like ice packs, the disposable really loose underwear, pain medication. The pain medicine that I was given during my actual surgery really masked a lot of my pain that I experienced for a good portion of the first day after my surgery. Once they removed the catheter and asked me to start getting up to go to the bathroom by myself, taking a shower for the first time, removing the bandage itself to open the incision, which by the way, I will show you guys my incision at the end of this video. That is when I really started to experience more pain that was so difficult to get through, especially those first few weeks. Started recommending ice for the swelling itself that was happening above my incision. I actually have a very swollen area of my abdomen still right above my incision. My first pregnancy, my lower abdomen, I would say, took the hardest hit. That part of my abdomen never fully recovered, and definitely took another hard hit now in my second pregnancy. And then to have the incision kind of right in that same area, it's just made it even harder for that area specifically to recover. So in my specific recovery, I've had a lot of swelling, a lot of lack of sensation in that area. Parts of it are still numb and regaining sensation very, very slowly. And that is the area where I feel the most pain after the activity that I do every day. Even still to this day, even though I'm getting back to more of a regular type routine, at the end of the day, that area of my abdomen is still very sore, very tender, and causes me to just not be able to continue doing all of the activities that I want to do. Even once you're home, staying on top of your medicine regimen recommended by your provider is hugely important. At least it was in my situation. Staying ahead of the pain, doing what you need to do to remember to take your medication. I actually asked my husband to be in charge of it for me because I had so much going on with my recovery and with breastfeeding and taking care of this new baby. I just asked him to kind of help me keep track of that, and he ended up adding alarms to his phone. So scheduled alarmed text messages that were sent to me, which was really, really helpful for me to remember when to take it. Something else they gave me in the hospital to help me, especially when walking, was a belly band. So this is the one that they gave me. If you guys are worried about being plus size, they did have something to accommodate different sizes. In the hospital, I specifically used this to walk from my bed to the bathroom, or just any kind of walking that I did. It really helped stabilize my stomach, and it made me feel stronger to be able to do the walking that I needed to do. One thing I don't really like about the belly band is the fact that it's not super convenient when you're sitting, at least for me. I'm doing a lot of sitting when I'm breastfeeding a newborn, like all the time. So the cumbersomeness of taking it on and off a million times a day isn't the most appealing. But in those situations where maybe you're going for a longer walk, or you know you're going to be standing for a longer period of time, I would definitely recommend something like this. And it's easy to acquire one in the hospital. Another item that I wore that was specifically really helpful in my recovery, I noticed when I got home and I was wearing my regular day-to-day underwear. I have a set of Calvin Klein underwear with a thicker band that I absolutely love. But now that that area was super swollen, I noticed any sort of additional tightness on that area caused me to have even more inflammation and even more pain. So I immediately had to switch to an even looser type underwear. Even though my original underwear was not tight by any means, it was extremely comfortable underwear. I had to transition to something else that was even more low-key. Also, same thing with my pants. I had to make sure to wear really loose fitting pants, nothing that had an elastic band or a waistband that would cinch any sort of tightness on that area, because again, that would really increase the symptoms that I was having. I will go ahead and link the set of underwear that I found that was really, really comfortable, and also the pair of leggings that I've been wearing basically non-stop during my recovery down in the description box, as well as anything else that I mentioned in this video that I can link below. Since in my experience it was so difficult getting up and moving around and doing the activity, the physical activities that I wanted to do during my recovery, especially in the beginning, I wanted to make my bathroom, my shower experience as easy as possible. The Peri bottle that I bought was the Freedom Mom Peri bottle, and it is, in my opinion, so much better than the one that you get from the hospital because it comes at an angle, and anything that makes life even just a little bit easier for you is so crucial when you're having a hard time physically doing the normal daily tasks like going to a bathroom and making sure you're cleaning up after yourself. My first labor and delivery, I had a vaginal birth, and the bleeding experience in that birth was completely different than it was with my C-section, but I did still experience a lot of bleeding, so I still had to make sure that I had a lot of things stocked. So the pads that I wanted to wear, disposable underwear, and I made sure to keep them all easily accessible in multiple stations. Before I talk about the crucialness of having multiple stations, another thing in the bathroom that was really helpful, when I took a shower, I have a detachable shower head in our bathroom. So I'm able to take that off and actually wash my incision just directly with water. Definitely follow your doctor's guidelines on that, obviously, but it just made it a little bit easier for me to maneuver physically in the shower to have a detachable shower head. As I mentioned earlier, I had multiple stations set up around my house. I do live in a 2-story home, and they actually really discourage using stairs. So I made sure that once I went upstairs, I would have pretty much everything that I needed often on that level, and vice versa. So once I made it downstairs, I wanted to make sure I had as much as I possibly could have prepared so that I would not have to go up and down the stairs 100 times or ask my husband to do that, just to make it so much easier. When you have such a hard time moving physically, you will definitely want to make life easier across the board. And I do plan on having a video very, very soon for you guys, hopefully next week, of my newborn for baby number 2 must-have items, not just for the baby, but for mothers in general. And 2 items that made my breastfeeding experience so much easier. So breastfeeding for me, somebody with low supply, is already very, very stressful, and with a C-section, not being able to physically do as much as you want to. I know pumping in general takes so much extra physical effort. There's a lot of pieces, just so many layers to having to pump and to bottle feed and to breastfeed. So for breastfeeding, things that made my experience and thus my C-section recovery a little bit easier were the haka, which is an item that you can attach to the breast that you're not nursing from at the same time that you're nursing, that will catch your letdown. For a lot of women, the amount that they catch from their haka actually totally eliminates the need to pump. I'm not exactly that lucky, but in my instance, when I have low supply, catching every single little drop that's coming out is very important. I still pumped because I really want to breastfeed. I want to have a successful breastfeeding relationship, and I want my daughter to have breast milk, especially during this really crazy pandemic time with the coronavirus. I just want to provide her with that nutrition if possible. I am pumping in hopes of keeping up my supply and hopefully encouraging an additional supply. And with that, I have both the Spectra 2 and I have the LV. The Spectra is a very traditional type pump and is accessible through insurance by a lot of different people. However, the LV is the one that I want to recommend to you guys because it has come in so clutch in regards to convenience. It's completely cord free, tube free. You don't have all of these like extra things that you're dealing with. You are not stuck sitting down. They're portable, so you can just wear them and continue on with life. Or in my instance, I could wear them and sit and relax rather than sitting, pumping, focusing on making sure I'm in one position for the entire time. The convenience of them is sincerely priceless to me. And again, I think if you can add that to your C-section recovery, if you're looking to pump and if you have the ability to do that, I would highly recommend it. I do plan on doing a full in-depth review of the LV pump. I've had a lot of you, especially over on Instagram, message me about my experience as a plus size woman with a larger chest with that breast pump, and I'm happy to go into that further in that video. One thing that was recommended to me over and over again was having a pillow, just any type of pillow that you can carry with you both inside the house and if you ever leave, like going for your postpartum visits, which for me during this time I didn't do. They were all virtual, which was crazy. But when we went to things like pediatrician's appointments, which were not virtual, we actually left the house. Basically, the pillow is recommended for any type of extreme-ish movement. So when you're laughing or coughing, or when you're going over speed bumps in the car, so many times I was recommended to have a pillow to just kind of sit on my incision for me to hold and to brace that area in hopes of helping reduce pain. My incision was stitched up with all dissolvable stitches internally, and I'm not exactly sure what was used externally, but there were no stitches externally. Just after 24 hours, I had a bandage, a very thick bandage that I removed in the shower the first time that I took a postpartum shower in the hospital. Because I had a very swollen swollen area like I talked to you guys about previously in my lower abdomen, and it kind of created almost like a folding of that area, which again you guys will see a little bit of when I show you the incision here in a second. There were often times where my incision was not completely open to air. I think that caused a slightly slower processing of recovery. Because of that, I ended up having some areas that had discharge later on in my recovery. And one of the things that I saw recommended repetitively was to get a very thin like panty liner pad. You fold it in half and you can put it in that area. It helps keep it free of moisture. That will hopefully help encourage recovery. Last thing that I'm going to recommend to you guys before I show you my stomach and my incision is the idea of having some physical therapy after you give birth. There's something called pelvic floor physical therapy that I've completed both times now after giving birth. Well, I haven't completed it a second time. I'm still going. And it's something that I definitely just recommend, not only having a C-section, but also having a vaginal birth, just to really refocus yourself on your pelvic floor health, because your pelvic floor can do so much to affect the rest of your body and thus your everyday life. My physical therapist has definitely been a huge component in my C-section recovery specifically. My OB's office, I would actually go as far to say as didn't do a great job in regards to helping me manage my recovery for C-section. I think part of that, of course, is maybe because we're in a pandemic and resources are limited, but it just felt very disconnected and like I wasn't receiving the care that I should have been. Maybe I would have if we would have been in a more traditional style appointment. That is going to be it for today's video, you guys. I have given you all of my tips, tricks, and hacks for how I have successfully encouraged my recovery to happen for this second baby. It's definitely been a process for me to have mentally. I just went into my induction with such a different mindset about what was going to happen. And of course, that's how it is always. You have a plan, but it never turns out that way. I just 100% never even had C-section on my radar. So I am now going to recommend to pretty much everybody that I talk to in regards to how they could prepare for labor and delivery to have it at least on their radar so that they're not completely shocked when it happens like I was. Again, you guys will definitely want to check out my labor and delivery video. Let me show you my incision and my belly really quickly now for, again, 8.5 weeks-ish postpartum. I know it's very hard for a lot of women to love their body and love the way that they look when they're going through their postpartum journey. Some even struggle with how they look during pregnancy. And I just 100% would say to try and give yourself some grace. And the easiest way for me to do that is realizing what your body has just done for you and given to you and your family. Your body took 9 months-ish, to give or take a little bit, to create a human, and we really should be praising our bodies no matter how they look for doing what they needed to do to give us these miracles. I really appreciate you guys watching today's video. Feel free to share it with anybody who you feel like it would help. Maybe a new mom who just had a C-section, or somebody who plans to have a C-section very soon, or anybody that you think that this would be helpful or entertaining to. Give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful to you, and if you liked it, leave me a comment down below with any additional tips, tricks, or hacks that you had for your C-section recovery specifically. I know anybody who's watching this video would probably love to have that, especially if they're additional to what I've already talked about today. So leave us all a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye guys!